No matter your age, your plan for retirement can start today. From the News Channel 5 Network, this is the Retirement Report.
Good morning. Welcome to the Retirement Report. I'm Hank Parrott, your host. We're going to be talking about, there's a recent report that I came across, and this is from Morningstar. It's an independent research group, and talks about how you draw down from your retirement nest egg, if you will, your investment portfolio when you retire. And one of the rules of thumb that's been used for decades in the financial planning industry is that called the 4% rule. Well, the 4% rule basically works this way. It says that you can, if you've got, let's say as an example, $500,000, $500,000 in your portfolio, that you would be able to draw down $20,000 a year safely without having to worry about running out of money. And this would be able to also account for increases for inflation, to take care of taxes, all that kind of thing. All right, well, now if you had $1 million, that'd be, of course, $40,000 a year. So here's the thing. That's without having to dip into your principal. Well, they're finding that those things, that 4% rule no longer applies, all right? They're saying, in fact, that it's not going to work. And one of the reasons for that, there's a few, but one being, of course, people are living longer. So we're talking about maybe 20, 25, 30 years even in retirement. So how to make the money last? Well, one of the things that also comes into play is when they look at bonds. So one of those is the Ibbotson government, let's say intermediate term government bond index. And what they're looking at there is that it has averaged up through 2011 about 5.5% per year. However, current interest rates are closer to 2% a year, less than half that. And this is one of the things that's going to affect how long your money lasts. Well, one of the things that comes into play there then, and what you're talking about, of course, is how you do your asset allocation. All right, that's going to be the key. This is one of the areas. I was at a conference recently, and a speaker was, that was talking about asset allocation and investment portfolios and how to invest in retirement. And one of the things that they don't address still too often is that of sequence of return. And I've talked about this on the program many times. This is one of the risks in retirement when we talk about the different risks that come into play. Things like inflation, taxes, market return risk, interest rate risk. Well, one of those is, and longevity risk, of course, and that's one of the things that's intensifying all these others, that's magnifying them, in fact, is that we're living longer. So this is where the sequence of returns comes in as well. So what they find, of course, is that in particular, as you approach or near retirement, that first, in the next, let's say 5 to 10 years even of retirement, you've got to be more careful about how you invest at that time, because if you go through a bear market, let's say anywhere, in particular, most specifically 5 years before to 5 years in retirement, it can be the difference between having plenty of money to be able to maintain your standard of living or running out of money. So one of the areas that we're going to address today is how you can get around that sequence of return risk. If you know it's there, then there are ways, there are strategies that can be employed. This was my frustration when I listened, just as with this speaker at this conference, he was talking about, much like it did in this Morningstar report, about how to accommodate this fact of what's going on with the bond funds, not being able to maybe take this 4%. That you would then, what do they suggest? Well, you've got to, lower the expectations of your clients. In other words, this was what they're saying to these advisors in the audience, is that you need to prepare them that if there's a downturn in the market, they may need to, go back to work or take less money. Let's see, so there were 3 things they recommended. One was go back to work or work longer. 2 is invest more aggressively. Well, guess what that would do in a bear market, right? You're going to take an even bigger hit. And then 3 was to reduce your lifestyle. In other words, spend less, not be able to do the things you want to do. I didn't think any of these options seemed very appealing to me. So, and with my clients, I know this is one of the areas that we work around. We know that sequences of returns risk is there. So you can, in the way that you do asset allocation for the portfolio, in the way that you can ladder portfolios for retirement, in the way for retirement income, and the way that you can, in fact, add other strategies that can help produce. So produce guaranteed income, for instance, like you can set up an annuity that can give you a guaranteed income, or you can set set up an annuity that'll give you protection against downside risk. So this can be laddered in as well. And annuities can be used, now, and I'm going to qualify this statement, okay? When I'm talking about annuities, there are 3 types of annuities. All right, fixed annuities, fixed index, and variables. I've talked about these before on the show. There are 1,000 different annuity products out there. About 800 of those are variable annuities, and you want to avoid them. So that leaves, we got about 20, we've just reduced the pool of annuities that we would even look at down to about 20% of what's left. And of those, there are a lot that have caps or other things that we wouldn't want. There are fixed annuities that just pay like a CD. They don't pay enough to stay ahead of inflation and taxes. There are immediate income annuities. Those can be used in certain situations where that guaranteed income with inflation riders and things can come into play. But again, you've got to understand, when I say annuity, please don't think that I'm giving painting with a broad brush that all annuities are okay. That's not the case. In fact, in my office, there's probably maybe 20 to 25 different annuities that we might utilize in planning out of 1,000. So it's a very small percentage. And those have been through a lot of research to find ones without caps, ones that are in fact going to do what we want them to do. So understanding that this can be put into place, all right, Wharton School of Finance, in fact, did a recent study. One of the things that they showed is that if you blend together fixed index annuities with stocks, you got a better chance of not running out of money than stocks and bonds. And remember the report, right, about the Ibbotson intermediate term government index with regard to bonds, showing that the returns are less than half what they were. This is, again, a way that we can boost up those returns. And what's the other things that bonds do in a portfolio? They help reduce volatility. So when you're going through a bear market, they can help soften that and help you get through that. Well, here's another way that we can now boost up that return further and still accomplish the goal of reducing the risk. So I know that's a lot, right? Well, we're going to get into it a little bit more and some other information about approaching retirement. If you want to understand these things for you specifically, I'm going to throw this out here for you this morning. For the first 10 callers to my office, Tess is standing by to take your call. The number is 615-376-5325, and I'm going to offer for you, I'll dig into this with you and your portfolio. I'll show you your investment portfolio. We do a report, an investment analysis that shows if based on how you're currently investing, if you were to take income, what that would look like for you. I can show you what sequence of returns risk in your portfolio is, what the volatility is, and basically show you your financial future if you keep doing the things you're doing, and then show you strategies that can be employed to improve that. So if you'd like to get that free comprehensive financial plan, the retirement income analysis, just be one of the first 10 callers to my office, 615-376-5325. Tess is standing by to get your information. She'll send you out a little packet to fill out, a checklist of things to bring to your appointment with me so that you can get the most, so we can do this planning for you. So and I'll explain how we're going to look at. We're going to look at income. We're going to look at expenses, at assets, at liabilities. We're going to do up a full plan for you, again, at no charge. First 10 callers, 615-376-5325. And when you come in to see me, I'll also give you a copy of my book, 7 Steps to Financial Freedom in Retirement. In there, I cover a lot of these things. That basically, it's what I've been doing for years in planning. Talk a little bit about some of the different strategies we employ, some of the benefits it's been to clients. I'll tell you a little bit about those. And walk you through that same process and how we come to be where we're at today when it comes to retirement, because it has changed. All right, I'm going to share with you. I'm going to get into we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to get into approaching retirement. I'm going to talk about how to retire happy. And what does that mean? Well, that means being able to attain and maintain your standard of living and quality of life throughout your retirement years. All right, so join me here. We'll be right back on the Retirement Report.